So if we're going to be honest with each other, self-improvement can be super boring. I mean, I've been in self-improvement now for 3 and a bit years, kind of on and off, and then the last 2 years I've been really hard on self-improvement, especially in the last year, especially since making this channel, because I've been more accountable, I've been more on it, and it can be boring. I mean, you know, there's all these kind of things like no sugar, dopamine detox, no social media, no FAP, no video games, and all these kind of things. It's like, it's no this, no that, don't do this, don't do that, and do this instead, do this instead. And I can totally see why people really find self-improvement to just be difficult, because it's basically about stripping all the comfort out of life and putting yourself into outside of your comfort zone, really. And that is where all the growth is. I mean, you know this. So really in today's video, I want to talk about delayed gratification, because everything in self-improvement that I've just described is really about delayed gratification over instant gratification, and how this can actually help you to get ahead of people and get into that 1%. You know, lots of people talk about get into the 1% of people, get ahead of 99% of people. And it really is something that you can do, and it is a real thing, because everyone is doing the same thing. And if you want to be in the 1% of people, if you really want to get ahead, if you really want to do something with your life, and you're an ambitious person, then you are likely going to have to do the opposite of what 99% of people do, and that's just the reality of it. So delayed gratification, what is delayed gratification, and what are some of the things that you can do in order to avoid instant gratification, and you know, what can you take from this, how can it help you? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about in this video, and what I've learned about the whole thing, really. So the first thing I want you to keep in mind right now, and this is a mantra that you can go by day to day in your entire life, is difficult now, easy later. And you may have heard of this before, and this is basically the saying that do things now that are difficult right now, so that, you know, tomorrow you, or next year you, will thank you for it down the line. And I can give you a few examples of this straight away. Something you might be familiar with is weightlifting, the gym, right? We all want to improve the way we look, we want to improve our health, we want to improve our physique, especially with Instagram and all these you know, fitness influencers. Everyone's got incredible physiques, they look incredible, they're jacked, they've got huge muscles, and you know, as men we can often sort of look at this and think, oh, you know, maybe we should take steroids, maybe we should do this. And the gym and improving your physique is a perfect example of difficult now, easy later, because you go in and do the gym session, and you know, you're lifting the weights, you're doing the squats, and it's hard, and you don't want to be there, and you don't want to do another rep, you don't want to do another set, and you know, you're pushing yourself, you're pushing your body. But you know, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, when you've built up that muscle, when you've got better physique, when you're more pleased with the way you look, you'll look back and you'll look at your younger self who was skinny and just starting out at the gym, and you'll be thankful that they did it. And that is just a perfect example of difficult now, easy later. Same thing with this YouTube channel for me. I've been making videos on this YouTube channel for you know, close to like 8 months or something now. Very inconsistent at the start, and then slowly becoming more and more consistent. And you know, it was difficult. I mean, I didn't really enjoy recording the videos. I felt awkward, I felt nervous, I didn't know how to edit the videos, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I was just new to the whole thing. And then just, you know, over months and months and months of learning it and just doing it and putting in those reps, sort of like the gym. You know, recently I've had a video that's done really well, and it's really massively grown the channel, and that is, you know, something that like now I can look back at my you know, myself from 6 months ago and say, you know, oh, you know, thank you for, you know, starting this channel, doing these videos, because now it's sort of paying off a little bit. It kind of forces you to look at the bigger picture and really just put in the consistency, put in the reps. And you know, it can be difficult to do at the start. You know, they often say the first hurdle is the biggest and most difficult hurdle to get over, and that is true, I think. And I think 99% of people, you know, a lot of the people who start YouTube channels, 99% of them don't even make a video. And then, you know, the 1% of those 99% only make, you know, 10, 20 videos, and then 99% of them stop at that. And you know, the easiest way to get into the 1% of YouTubers is to just make YouTube videos, because by then you've already surpassed, you know, most people that wanted to be a YouTuber, wanted to start. And it's all just, that's all delayed gratification. Another example is upskilling yourself. You know, you learn a new skill. For example, me with video editing, I learned that new skill, and you know, that's paying off now. And that was something that at the start was very difficult to learn. I didn't know how to video edit, I didn't know what I was doing, but then, you know, you just learn more and more about it. And later down the line, I can now thank myself looking back, saying, you know, thank you for learning video editing. Thank you for getting, you know, relatively good at that and competent with that, because now I can confidently edit videos. And that's just like an example of a skill that you can learn. Right now on the side, I'm trying to learn how to make music. So I'm in a DAW, and I'm looking to, if you don't know, a DAW, it's a digital audio workspace. And I'm trying to like learn how to make songs. So I'm looking up a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm looking up tutorials on how to use it, how to make songs. And it's not a skill that's relevant right now, but it's something I'm interested in. And I've always kind of had this background thing of like, you know, it'd be pretty cool to be able to make like some music. So I'm learning that now. And who knows, maybe me 10 years down the line might thank, you know, 22-year-old me now for starting that journey and for starting upskilling myself with that. And, you know, you can have your own example where, you know, any kind of new skill you're trying to learn right now, whether it's video editing or recording videos or making music or any kind of skill, right? It could be like kickboxing or something. You could look back and you could always think that, you know, it's difficult then, it was difficult at the time, but now it's easy, now I'm good at it. And, you know, you can look back and say, you know, thank you for doing that. So I think it's important to always keep this in mind. Delayed gratification, difficult now, easy later. Another term that I want to give to you is something called latent leverage. This is something I learned from Chris Williamson from his podcast with Mike Thurston, and it was a great podcast. I definitely recommend you go listen to that. It's on Mike Thurston's podcast, not Chris Williamson's, and he talks about latent leverage. And now, I don't know if you know about tectonic plates. So I don't know if you did geography in school, like GCSEs or whatever, but tectonic plates, you know, there's a bunch of them in the earth, and, you know, they're always kind of in motion over like millions of years. The tectonic plates are moving around the earth. That's how like earthquakes happen, right? So tectonic plates are rubbing against each other on the boundary. It's called a fault line, and that's where earthquakes happen. And, you know, a tectonic plates, two of them will be like pushing against each other for thousands of years, really, really hard, pushing against each other. Nothing happens though. So they'll be pushing against each other, lots of pressure, pressure building, nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, bang, it just flips like that. And, you know, it takes a lot of pressure, and then they eventually like clash like that, and that's what causes an earthquake or a tsunami or a volcano or something, like some big natural disaster. But you can kind of relate this to like your self-improvement journey or some kind of business that you're working on, whatever it is that you're working on. You'll be putting loads of effort in, loads of pressure onto it. You keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it. Nothing's happening. You're not getting any reward. You're not building many subscribers. You're not getting paid yet. And, you know, you can kind of be like, oh, well, what's the point in doing it? But you just keep doing it, and then bang, you know, it would just shoot up. And that's kind of a little bit what's happened with my channel recently. You know, I was sitting at like, you know, gaining like 20, 30 subscribers per month. And then like this month I've gained like 700 subscribers or something. So it's like, you know, that's kind of an example of like a little, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much compared to like some YouTubers, right? But it's just an example of like, you know, I put in lots and lots of work, put out lots and lots of videos, you know, really tried hard, upskilling myself, working on this channel, and then, you know, it just pays off with like one video. So that's just an example of latent leverage. It's like the leverage that you have to be able to do something in your work, but it's got like a delay on it. So you put a lot of effort in, and it pays out a few months down the line. Okay, and the last tip that I want to give you, which is related to all this about, you know, getting into that 1% of people and to just getting ahead of other people who start similar things to you, you know, YouTube or business or whatever it is, right? Even the gym, right? You know, a lot of people start the gym, do a couple sessions, then give up. You know, you might be one of those people, and this is just something that's really important. You'll have heard this term a lot: consistency. So kind of like that tectonic plate example that I just gave you with latent leverage, if those tectonic plates have got pressure on them and it's constantly building pressure, that's when the kind of the earthquake happens and the big kind of event happens. But it takes constant pressure. So if that pressure was alleviated from those two fault lines, they'd probably never have that earthquake, you know, if the pressure was eased off and they sort of started drifting apart again, if you want to use that kind of visual example in your head. And then the only thing that builds up that pressure constantly and gets it higher and higher and higher is just consistency. So I'll use it again. I'll use the gym for example for this one, okay? Because it might be a bit more relevant to some of you. You know, all YouTubers, I totally understand that. So, you know, with the gym, for example, you go in session after session after session, you put in the reps, you keep working, and eventually you build muscle, and you see that kind of results start to come through. And there's a little bit of latent leverage with muscle building as well, I've found, because, you know, you can constantly look at yourself in the mirror and literally over months and months of training in the gym, and you're kind of not seeing any progress. But then it's kind of like one day where you look in the mirror and you will, like, you know, from like a certain angle or something, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I see a bit of progress now. And you know, that's kind of like the latent leverage thing. That's almost like that earthquake moment where you realize you have actually built some muscle, but you don't always see it. So that's kind of like, you can kind of relate it to the gym as well. But with the gym, it's constant reps, constant sessions. But the moment that you stop going to the gym, right, you take a few months off, you're not going to like lose a ton of gains, but it's certainly going to slow down the pressure building. It's going to make it longer before you have that moment, you know, where you realize you built a lot of muscle. It's going to take longer to get there. As soon as the pressure is, you know, you take your foot off the gas, if you want to say it that way. So just keep these terms in mind. Difficult now, easy later. That is delayed gratification. That's doing things that are hard now, just to pay off later. So that's like, you know, going to the gym, cold showers, sorting out your health, sorting out, you know, not drinking as much alcohol so that later on you're in better health, starting a YouTube channel, starting a business now and learning from your mistakes and starting, you know, upskilling yourself. That's all delayed gratification. And then you've got the second term, which is the latent leverage, which is where you put effort into it and it pays off later. That ties into the delayed gratification. And then just consistency, and keep doing the thing, keep putting in the reps, keep putting in the work, and, you know, be consistent. And, you know, if you tie all these kind of three things together, I think that is the way that you can, you know, use delayed gratification, use difficult now, easy later to just get ahead and to get into that 1% of people. Hope you got some value out of this video. Remember, just improve yourself by 1% every day and you will get there. See ya.